everyone, welcome to another episode of the WP Crowd. My name is Roy, as usual. Sorry about the weird location, actually in my office today. But that is not going to stop me from recording. So we are still recording today. So I'm going to start, as usual, with introductions. Chris, why don't you go first?
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for having me, Roy. My name is Chris Edwards. I run an agency here out of Orlando, Florida that's called Data Driven Labs. One of the things we focus on is marketing, both on the PPC and SEO side, as well as we also do WordPress development, WordPress maintenance, and other different aspects just all around digital marketing. Our biggest thing is we focus on data-driven, so we want to make sure that whatever we're doing for you is driving results through analytics.
Nice. And Joe?
Hey, really glad to be on, and nice to meet y'all. My name is Joe Howard. I run a WordPress maintenance company called WP Buffs. We do everything from helping people with security, website speed, ongoing maintenance, ongoing support, kind of plug-and-play CTO for mostly entrepreneurs, small businesses who run WordPress sites.
Nice. Welcome. Both of you guys are actually brand new to the show. So for those of you who are watching, we're always happy to have new people on the show. Feel free to check out our Facebook group on Facebook. It's just called WP Crowd Public Group. And you can RSVP to these things and get on the recordings if you have something to say. So today we're actually talking about business and actually selling services to businesses, specifically WordPress services or WordPress tangential related kind of services. As a freelancer or consultant, I get a bunch of these objections all the time, especially from small businesses in my area. Before I started working at the job I have currently, I used to actually pay a cold caller to set me up appointments with small businesses, and I would then go meet with them. And I just heard like every single objection in the book, even when I was offering them like a $1,000, $2,000 website. They just had like every single objection imaginable, which at the time I wasn't really prepared to kind of respond to. But I think I've grown a little bit. Obviously, I have a bigger network of friends now that I can kind of spin ideas off of. And ultimately, what I do is build websites. That's only one piece of the puzzle. We have Chris and Joe here who actually do other parts of like the bigger business, right? Kind of what the business needs to grow. And that's what I want to talk about. So I'm just going to start off with one of my biggest objections. And I'm curious if you guys have had the same objection, because I think it's just really relevant, but also really, I'm going to say dumb, but obviously these people have their reasoning for it. But it's just my favorite one because it's just so weird. And that is, I don't need any more customers. Like, I've literally heard this quite a few times where it's just like, hey, I could build you a website and help you grow your business. And I will get the objection, no, I don't need any more customers. Like, I just don't, like, I'm too busy, or I just don't need them. I'm curious, either one of you, if you guys have heard it, and then how do you guys kind of combat that? What do you guys return from that?
Yeah, go ahead, Joe.
I was about to say, go ahead, Chris. I heard you starting to talk too, but I'll go first, and I'll leave it to you. I'll give it back to you. I think a lot of people give this objection because they do get, a few customers, a few clients, a few patients, maybe through their website or through referrals, and they have enough business to kind of keep them afloat. The biggest reason I always, that I invest in marketing, and I like to always have more potential customers and clients, is because then at that point I get to kind of have more of a choice of who I work with. When you have less customers or less clients, you're kind of, the people who come in, you feel much more pressure to maybe, sell them and move forward with them and have them as a new client, when, in reality, you could have, twice as many potential clients, and then kind of pick and choose the ones who will work best with you, who are going to be the best clients or the best customers. I mean, you touched on, Roy, when you're selling $1,000, $2,000 websites, so many people have these objections like the one we're talking about now, and a ton of objections. But when you kind of move into a higher price point, if you're building $10,000 sites or $15,000 sites, you see a lot of those objections kind of go away. Actually, it's funny how that works. People just, they want to pay to have something built, as opposed to the people who kind of are super budget sensitive and have a million questions and need everything done exactly their way. So I think that's kind of something people haven't really, haven't gotten their heads around yet. And that's kind of why some people say, I don't know if I need more customers. Do I really need more customers? And some people may just, honestly not want to grow their business as much as the next person. So that's always a possibility. But I think a lot of people just maybe, haven't wrapped their heads around what more potential, customers in their, sales funnel could do for them. So, and I know, Chris, you had something to say too, so go for it.
Yeah, I'm curious what Chris has to say just from a marketing point of view, because selling websites hard enough, but selling a marketing campaign to even a website to a company that might already have whatever level of website, I don't know what that's like.
Yeah, so Joe actually stole some of my points there, but no, there's a couple other things along with what Joe was saying. It's not always about bringing in new customers either. And this is what I have to explain to them is, having the website's not just about bringing on new customers. It's about servicing the customers you already have. You may have a great group of customers, but your competition's out there, and they're building new websites. They're building new services. They're making new ways for them to connect besides just picking up the phone and calling you. They're creating these different avenues that are going to push them away potentially from your business, and you're going to start to lose those customers by not innovating and having something that works and does what they want it to do. So, if you're a doctor's office, for example, if every time I have to pick up the phone and call to set my appointment and modify my appointment, and your competitor actually allows me to go on and book my appointment online and modify my appointment, I may start to look over at them, and I may leave you as a customer. So I always say it's not always about bringing on new customers, but it's also about keeping your current customers, and it's also customer service, making your customers a little more involved in your company, more, happy. So that's kind of the way I look at it as well on, both sides.
So I'm going to do this for every single one that we go through, but I think what we need to do is, for anyone that's listening or watching, just like what's a one-liner or a two-liner that you would give to all of these things? Joe, you had a client that said this thing to you. What's like a one-liner you would give them in kind of retort to that complaint or that thing?
Would that be for this specific? Someone said to me, I don't want to get new customers.
Yeah, someone legitimately just said, hey, I don't want any more customers. What's like a one-line or two-line like thing you would say back?
I would probably say, I would actually probably go in the direction that kind of Chris just mentioned. You don't want to, I kind of think of it as like brushing your teeth. If you're not whitening, you're yellowing, which is like kind of a gross example, but it kind of makes sense, right? If you're not moving forward with things, then you're moving backwards. And more importantly, along with Chris said, your competitors are working to kind of make their own services better and their own website better. So maybe I would use that analogy and gross them out a little bit.
How about you, Chris? You got a retort?
Yeah, kind of back to what I said, was saying in the original, but condensing it, basically saying if you're not innovating, you're not providing excellent customer service to your current customers. And you never know when you're going to want to bring on new customers.
Yeah. And so for mine, I would say the one thing that I always kind of reply back is if a business is too busy and they can't handle new clients, it's a great time to start charging more. And a website is a great way to start bringing in more clients to start charging more. Because as Joe brought up earlier, the more clients you have, the more you could pick. And the more you have selection from, or the more spread of customers you have, potential customers, the more you can play around with how much you're charging. Because next thing you know, you could be doubling up your price and working half as hard for the same amount of money just because you now have a better client base.
Totally. And
work
kind of
smarter, not harder.
Yeah, exactly.
And what Chris said about just because you don't want to you may not think you want to grow your business now doesn't mean you may not want to in the future. And I mean, Chris does SEO. And so he knows that SEO is not something you can just turn on today and like you're getting double the traffic next month. It's a very, it's a kind of medium term play. So if you want, if you think in a year you want to have, 3 times the traffic, you should be starting content production now. You should be starting your on-page SEO now. You should be starting to look to earn backlinks elsewhere now, so that in a year you're ready for that. So I think that, Chris, you definitely nailed that for sure.
Yeah, excellent point. Marketing is one of those things I tell people it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. And so when we actually had this same issue running. We had this happen with our own business. Funny enough, we got to a point that we couldn't take on more work. We weren't ready. We weren't wanting to expand at that point in time. And we were just, we kind of stopped all marketing efforts, and we just focused on our clients, and we stopped marketing efforts. Well, then we hit one of those, dry months where we had no new customers coming on, and it hit us pretty hard. We had to go into our reserve cash flow, and we started marketing, but it took about 2 months for that marketing effort to start to pay off. And so now, even when we're completely flooded and we can't take on new clients, we still have a block of time set apart each week to do marketing for our own company. Even if we don't want any new customers that week, we're still doing the work so that when it comes time, we're ready to, they're there. The leads are there to go ahead and start going after.
So you guys set this up perfectly, because I have my next one, my next objection, which
we're good.
Which rolls right into this, and I got this a lot, and I still get it today. My customers don't search for me online. I got this a lot, especially when for some reason I was on a binge there for a second with a lot of machine shops or skilled trade kind of shops.
Yep.
And they just don't believe in online. They are old school, woodworkers, metal workers. They don't know online. They don't believe in online. Their computer that they do have is a Pentium 1 with a CRT, and they don't use it for anything. And so I'm just curious, especially from your end, how do you combat that? How do you tell someone, no, your customers are searching for you, basically?
Well, there's a variety. I use a couple different tools. I use a tool called Ahrefs, for example, and it does show you search volume. And so sometimes I'll pull up and show them and say, look, here's the numbers. These are estimated numbers, but these are people who are searching for items you may have. The other thing I tell them is you never know, my kid, he's 11 years old. And we were talking the other day, and he couldn't fathom the time when I told him when I was a kid that if we didn't know something, we had to go find somebody who knew it, go to the library and look it up, that there wasn't a way for us to jump onto a computer or onto a cell phone and just Google it. And he was just, he was flabbergasted. He didn't know. He was like, how did you even survive? And I'm like, I don't know. I just did. But he, as we start getting, younger generation coming in, they've been accustomed to always having a search engine at their fingertips. I mean, they're carrying one around in their pockets. All their devices are now voice activated. They can just ask the question. So what we try to do is we try to explain to these type of clients, we say, as your business ages, you don't want to start losing that younger client base, because you want to be able to pass this business on to somebody else later on. And the only way to make your business survive is to adapt to these new things. And people are starting to search for things. And so we focus more on telling them, look, you may not think people are searching for your product, but they are. And if you want to focus on that younger generation, you need to actually open up and be online and focus on those different measures. Yes.
I think you nailed that one. I mean, that's perfect. The future thinking is everything here. This generation is searching on, using search engines and using mobile. I mean, mobile is only becoming more and more popular. And, I'm beating a dead horse because most people who are listening to this podcast have heard this before, right? The world's going mobile. People are using mobile search more often, but it's even past that. Right now, we're moving into how do we optimize for Alexa, voice search, and how do we, what about the wearable IT stuff. The world's moving forward way faster than just mobile. So, but to kind of keep things there, I think that if I had like the one sentence retort to that, I would say they are, because Chris knows he sells, expensive marketing plans so that people can make a return on their investment, but they're not, people aren't paying him $50 a month for these marketing plans. They're paying, they're probably somewhat expensive. So if Chris walked up to someone and said, hey, like, pay me, $2,000 a month, and we'll do your marketing for you, probably people are not just going to like hand him $2,000 for the first month and say, okay, like they're going to do their research. They're going to want a referral. They may want to talk to another customer, especially if you're selling higher end. If you're selling little trinkets for $5, maybe someone's willing to just say, spend $5. But especially if you're selling things that are even $50 or $50 a month, but especially, higher priced market things, people are doing their research. And for the people, the reason that I think it's super important is, even if only a few people are looking you up, the people who are looking you up they're looking for a reason not to buy from you. They're looking for something that they want to be impressed. And they also are looking for, maybe there's a 1-star review somewhere. Maybe there's something about them that would be a reason not to buy. And so making sure you own that real estate in Google when someone's searching for you, not only with your website, but with maybe some of your social profiles or your profiles on other websites, that you control that information is super important. Because if someone's going to buy from you and they see something bad, then they're not only are they probably not going to buy from you, they're going to buy from your competitors. So it's kind of double damage there. So the people who are searching for you are the people who could potentially become some of your biggest fans, your biggest customers. So why give them a reason to not see good things about you and not appear well when people are searching for you, especially if you're a growing company?
Yeah, basically all of this, like we're talking about the context of a website, I'd say all of that also applies to social media marketing. Like, yeah, if you're a machine shop, you don't need to be on every single social media platform, but having some type of social presence out there is super important, no matter how big, small, old, young your company is. So keep that in mind as well.
That's super important. I'm sorry to butt in. I just I'm not like super big on social. Like, I'm not super convinced that selling via social directly is like something, at least for me, like I don't really know how to do that. But I know that having a little Twitter button on the bottom of my screen and a little Facebook button to go to my pages and being somewhat active there is important, especially from what Chris was saying about this new generation. They want a company that not only provides them like a very, a high quality service or product, but one that has awesome customer support and has real people behind that company. And being on social does have some social proof for that kind of stuff. So I think being on social is important, but like you said, Roy, you don't have to be on every social media platform, just the ones where your customers are. That's what I'd say.
Yeah, I kind of want to follow up with what Joe just said in regards to that. It's actually kind of funny. I have a client just was working on that does nails for drywall, roofing, and that's what they do.
I was going to ask, which kind of nails is it? Do they paint nails or are they hammer nails? I guess
nail guns. Yeah, the ones that go to nail guns, and that's all they sell. And they're huge in this area. And one of the things that they don't have a website, and they have a Facebook page. And when I was talking to them, they came to me and they were very interested in, doing Facebook marketing because they wanted to appeal to the younger contractors that were on Facebook. And I had to actually go out and luckily I know a few other people that are contractors I was able to talk to and ask them how they're looking for this kind of stuff. I was able to show them that, they need a website because what these people are doing is they're searching on the job site through their mobile phones. When they run out of nails, they're searching for a company that can come deliver nails, which is what they do, to the job site. And they're like, well, if I see a Facebook page, I'm not jumping on Facebook because my boss walks by and sees me on my phone on Facebook on a job site. I'm done. And so they're like, but I can pull up his website and then give him a call. And his biggest objection actually was to the website was, well, I'm not selling on my website. I'm not doing an e-commerce site. I'm not selling the nails and shipping nails to people. And my thing is, that's not all a website's for. You can actually have just an informational page But when it comes to social media, while you can be on social media, you need to have a place to send them that's on the web that you control, that has all of your information. It's not, if Facebook changes something tomorrow, that all your stuff doesn't change, that you still have those customers finding you. So that kind of goes along with this subject of, not nobody's searching for my stuff. Nobody's also buying from directly off my website. It's kind of the same, no one's searching for my product to buy it. Well, but they're searching for your service.
Well, the thing I like about social media as well is just the fact that it gives you not social presence, it just gives you presence as a company. Like even if it's the opposite, even if someone has a website but they're not on social, sometimes I might not give them the benefit of the doubt. Like I'll find a company and either I'll see them on Yelp or I'll see them on Facebook, but I won't see a website. So I'm like, okay, let me find someone else. Or I'll find their website, but then they're not on social.
Yeah.
And even if they're not even that active on social, it doesn't really bug me. It's just that the fact that they take the time and energy to put themselves there gives them the presence. So I know, hey, again, as kind of as Joe said, it shows that someone's behind it. It's not just, hey, I set this up and I'm just kind of leaving it alone. And, I don't know the last time this website has been updated, or because that's always annoying too. When you find a business that's like, has that one specialty thing that you actually need. And then you like call them up and they don't have it anymore, and or they're closed and like just their website's still up.
Yeah.
Like that kind of stuff really bugs me. So like, I think the whole social / website combo is necessary for really any business, just because just the day and age we're in right now. And some people do just search on Facebook. Like I know there's, like you said, there are companies out there that don't need, their excuse to not having a website is they have plenty of business from their social. Like their Facebook page gives them enough business. And I'm just like, yeah, but again, as you said, you can't really control it. It's honestly, it's the same excuse that, or same reasoning I give people why they should have a WordPress site versus like a Squarespace site, because as soon as you get past that level of functionality of what you need for your business, Squarespace can change or shut down, and then all your business is gone.
Yep.
Another topic for another day. But it's along those same lines of ownership and just having that presence there. There's one other one I really wanted to bring up, and this kind of is more for Joe because this really relates to you, but I had a hard time with this when I was out and about, and that's just the maintenance, the post build. Like people don't understand that, like I could sell them on a cheap website like that I can build in a day and get them going, but I'm like, well, you're not going to update your website, and that's going to be a problem. So here, let me put you on a maintenance plan where I'll update it and I'll help you out with any small things and tweaks, moving forward. And they just don't get it. Like I've already conquered the obstacle of them needing a website. And I'm like, I've sold them on that. They're like, fine. But they just think like, I want to say because I think people aren't that dense anymore. Like people don't believe websites are field of dreams anymore. Like if they build it, people will just come to it. You need marketing and stuff. But I still feel like people think that once you build it, you can kind of just leave it alone and it'll just be fine, when that's really not the case anymore. So I'm curious, Joe, how you come at a lot of those kind of things. Like, hey, I have a website. My business is running a WordPress site already. Why do I need your services? Like, this makes no sense. Why do I have to spend even more money?
Yep. We were talking a little bit, before we hit record here, about half of our job at WP Buffs is educating our customer base, using kind of security as an example. There are kind of two ways to approach, website security. There's proactive. So there's, picking a, fully managed WordPress host that you can partner with that's going to cover a lot of these security measures. There's making sure you have, things on the WordPress dashboard side of things covered as well, proactively, whether you're using maybe a premium plugin or some other, functionality there. And then there's reactive, which we see a lot. We probably get 5 requests a day of people coming in saying, my website's been hacked. Like, what do I do? Like, the world's on fire. And, we'll help people with that. We do hack cleans and stuff too. But the point is that if we're just speaking financially, it's way cheaper to do ongoing maintenance and to support all these things proactively, whether it's security, website speed, making sure everything's updated, whether it's plugin, theme, core files, which kind of pushes towards security as well. It's much cheaper to maintain that on an ongoing basis than for something to go wrong and for you to have to pay, 10 times that much cleaning up a site or figuring out what to do. Sometimes sites get hacked so bad, there's really no coming back from it. So I think that one of the biggest hurdles we run into is that a lot of people think that WordPress is free and should be free. And they kind of conflate the fact that it's open source and free software to the fact that, or with running my website should be free too, and why do you need to charge me for it? So we kind of always, and we're still figuring it out too. We're always trying to improve ways of how we can educate our client base and sell our services. But it's kind of the biggest way and success we've had doing it is pushing on the pain point of instead of having just fully managed WordPress hosting, because people kind of understand that, I don't have to deal with the hosting, like fully managed WordPress hosting. Now someone will host a website for me and they deal with PHP upgrades and resource limits, and I don't have to do that anymore. We kind of try to sell fully managed WordPress, period. So not only is the hosting taken care of for you, but you don't have to, make any changes on the website if you don't want to. We'll handle that for you, as well as security, website speed, everything that would be required by if you were to bring on like a WordPress CTO for your website, we can handle. So that's kind of how we kind of try to attack that pain point. Like, why are you focusing on these little technical things when you can be working with Chris all day, and you can be focusing on the marketing and growing your company and moving things forward. The things we do have a high impact on the website, but in terms of growth and moving the website forward, what we do is kind of the foundational level. So the like high impact stuff for growth would be like Chris working on your website. So we want to take care of the we want to be in the thick of things, helping with the technical stuff and having, you have the time and the resources to be able to focus your time growing your website, growing your business. So yeah, that's how we attack it.
It's definitely a hard sell because when you're talking about people who don't get it, who don't understand PHP, like what it is, let alone that it has a version that needs to get updated.
I've already talking way over a lot of people's heads who are not technical.
But like the main thing that it boils down to is I don't think, Joe, your service, someone can go, okay, what's the return on investment? Because there isn't really one. It's Chris can say, hey, you give me $5,000, you're going to have $7,000 in income in 2 months, whatever that like factor might be. I'm just saying that your return on investment is going to be, your return is going to be higher than your investment. While a company just has to pay Joe, you for your services, and there's not really like a profit to be gained from that, which sucks. But at the same time, it's super important for everything else that needs to get done. For all the things that do return on investment, you need a good foundation. That's where you're saying, and that's like the hardest sell for any, especially small business. I mean, just saying, hey, look, you need to pay me money, but you're not gonna get anything in return of monetary value, basically.
Yeah, I'd be totally interested to hear what Chris has to say, because he sells a service that has kind of an ROI component to it. Although SEO is pretty hard to measure the entire the entire campaign you're running, because it's not only bringing in traffic, it's like converting visitors, then it's like converting new customers and repeat and upselling customers. It's kind of the whole thing. And I'm kind of on the opposite side of the spectrum as Chris, whereas Chris runs kind of bigger marketing campaigns, more expensive. They have an ROI, so you can, somewhat show that, which I'll let Chris talk about here. And we're kind of on the lower side of things. Like, our most expensive plan's $120 a month. Well, our most expensive plan's $200 a month. But, for a non-custom website, $120 a month is going to get you pretty full maintenance for your website. So we do have to kind of show a little bit of an ROI, but it's more, we're solving that pain point of like, you pay us and like, don't have a headache, and you can sleep at night and not have to worry about your WordPress website. So yeah. Yeah,
no, it sucks. 'Cause like, in the grand scheme of things, if like you're talking about enterprise level, which, you know, obviously the amounts are way higher in enterprise, but there's, you know, there's profit centers and there's cost centers. There's divisions within companies that literally bring the market share of the company. They don't raise the stock price, is what I'm saying. They're just there to bring it down or keep it where it's at. But without those cost centers, the profit centers don't have support. They don't have necessarily the foundation, as you said, to do what they need to do. So it's just a hard sell, especially when you're talking about small business who, you know, every dollar needs to count.
Well, I think with the ROI side, I kind of actually tell them there is an ROI, and where that actually comes with, because, you know, we have very similar maintenance packages to WP Buffs. We offer, you know, not only do we keep your site, we offer hosting, we keep your site backed up, updates, and we also go in and we do unlimited changes as small as changing your phone number. Surprisingly, when you put someone on WordPress, even though it's easy for them to go in and edit, and that's why they chose to go onto the WordPress platform, they'd rather just send you a request to do it for them. And one of the things that we find as an ROI that when we're trying to sell this is, if your site does get hacked because you haven't kept it up to date and you get things put on there, Google penalizes you. Google will actually start to de-index your site until you can prove to them that you have fixed this issue. If it goes on long enough, you start to drop in those search rankings. And you drop fast. And to make back up for that, if your site stays hacked because you now don't have the money to pay somebody to come in and clean out that hack because you weren't keeping your site maintained, and it takes you 2 weeks to get that off your site. I've had clients, we've had to spend almost 2 or 3 months hardcore doing SEO to get them back to where they were before their site got hacked. So there, when you look at the ROI, it's more of an ROI of lost revenue that they lost because they lost their search rankings because of that drop from that hack that most likely would not have happened had their site been kept up to date by somebody like, you know, WordPress experts, WP Buffs, you know, the different WordPress maintenance companies out there. They keep your site up to date, and they make sure, and a lot of them have, they'll clean up a hack too. If a hack does come in, they will clean it up for you before hopefully Google even finds out that your site was hacked. So there is a return on investment there on that side, plus the side of not having to stress about it. You want to change something. Let's say you have a sale that you want to run just for that, you know, just for a couple days. You can just send a ticket in and somebody takes care of it right away. You don't have to have somebody trained on your staff. You don't have to take all that extra time to have somebody who can do that kind of stuff for you. You can just send and have someone take care of it right away. So I think on the maintenance plans, we try to sell, and I think Joe kind of jumped on this as well, but that we tell people you're experts in the business you do. If you're a hairstylist, you're an expert in hairstylist. I'm not. Obviously, look at my hair. I'm not a hairstylist, but you are, and that's what you're an expert in. But I'm an expert in WordPress. I'm an expert in website and marketing. Let me do that for you so you can focus on what you're good at. I'll focus on what I'm good at, and together we'll make your site great. And that's kind of how I sell the maintenance plans is you're basically hiring us as an employee of your company for depending which package you go with us, for between $50 to $200 a month. You're hiring me as an employee of your company. I mean, we all have worked with employees. That's a cheap amount of money to hire an employee for a company that can take care of all those needs for you.
It's a fraction of if someone were to bring on a full-time employee as a CTO role to take care of their website. You're spending 10 times that much on someone to really, you know, have that person be full-time. But if you just need someone for 5 hours a month to, you know, make sure things are working and things are, you know, kept up to date, then why not pay someone like you with your maintenance plans or WP Buffs for the maintenance plans? That's the best part about it. And kind of from what you were saying, man, so many people understand marketing in the fact that it's like, it's going to grow my business. It's like having the sword, like, you know, I'm going on attack. But a lot of people kind of forget the like less glamorous part of growing your business, which is like the shield. It's like you have to continue to protect yourself as you're moving forward. So people understand the sword part. They're like, attack, yeah, that sounds great. Let's grow, like growth hacking, like let's do it, you know. But they don't kind of the less glamorous part is the things you have to put in place, the systems, the processes, the security, to make sure that things just stay up and running, like just on a baseline level, you know, regardless of like preparing to scale your business and preparing to grow. You just have to like make sure like your stuff's like working. So a lot of times that requires an investment as well. And it's not as maybe a like fun sounding investment. It's like, let's run an SEO campaign. Like let's bring in a lot of traffic, but it's equally as necessary because exactly like you said, all this stuff works together. You're not just running an SEO campaign or an inbound marketing campaign to grow your traffic, to grow your business. Your business has to grow as you grow and as your traffic grows and as everything grows. So if you just focus on one side of things and not the like conversion or not the security or not the ongoing support and maintenance, then things are going to break as you move forward. And that's just the reality of it.
Yeah. It's not about, basically it comes down to, it's not about the money that you're spending now. It's about the money you're not going to be spending later when something does break.
Exactly.
And the spending of a little bit more now ongoing is a lot cheaper than that one time. And again, the repercussions are time spent fixing whatever broke, plus potential losses, in marketing. Like the potential loss later on is a lot greater than the investment you're making right now. But that's a hard sell. Like small businesses don't always get that. They see the amount of cash they have coming into their business or the amount that's in their bank, and they want to keep as much of it as possible. Yep. And they just don't realize that, hey, in a month from now, if I don't pay you the $200, I'm going to have $1,500 worth of like fixing first to do, because good luck trying to find someone who's going to give you a good hourly rate. We need to get your website fixed right now.
I need it now, today.
Yeah. I tell you what, my hourly rate is already pretty high. It's triple when someone tells me that.
Yeah.
And on top of that, just all the other ramifications. Your marketing is now going bad. Think of all the people that come to your website while it's hacked, and they see that Google, you know, the malware on the site red page. They're not going to come back to your business later and be like,
why am I going to trust you?
Yeah. Why would I ever trust? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you don't take care of your own website. How are you going to take care of mine? I mean, that's for us, but for any business, it's if you don't care about taking care of your own website, do you care about the products you sell or the services you sell? It's just, it adds that question, like how much do you really care about me as a potential customer? I guess not that much.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna actually cut it there. Good chat. And as always, if you guys want to learn more about what these guys do, check out their websites. I'll try to make sure to put links in the description to everyone's site and on the blog post so you can find them. They're both going to be in Miami coming up, so I know that this podcast kind of stays online forever, but if you're going to work at Miami here in 2018, make sure to find both these guys. They're really smart.
Probably 2019 and probably 2022, so it'll if you're watching this in the early part of your year, you can look for it.
We never miss Miami.
Yeah. Good. Well, Miami is a big camp. I'm unfortunately going to be miss it this year, but hopefully next year, along with Orlando. Those are my two Florida camps that I want to hit. But for WP Crowd, make sure you guys hit subscribe, like the video, and you can find us again on Facebook. Just if you want to be part of these episodes, all you have to do is join our public group, check the events, RSVP to the event, and basically on Friday of that event, we'll record it, and it goes out the next Tuesday. So like, subscribe, everything. And with that, I'll see you guys next week.